Number 2, I have h of t equals negative 0.25t minus 0.75. Now I can do a number of things with this equation. First thing I want to do though is change it to y equals negative 0.25t minus 0.75. Now I can leave it in this form, it's not going to be a problem, but first thing I want to do is find my y-intercept. And remember, I have two options for that. I can let my x, or in this case t, equal 0. If I go to graph this, I really can just think of it as an x. So I'm going to go ahead and write it that way for while we're finding our x and y intercepts. I can think of that t as an x and then the h of t as a y. So I can use it that way for graphing purposes, and then I know the x values and the y values, but I could also graph it as the t values and the h of t values. So my x is going to be set to 0, which will mean y equals negative 0.25 times 0 minus 0.75. So the 0.25 positive or negative times 0 is just going to be 0, and so my y will be negative 0.75, and that means my y-intercept is 0 for the x and negative 0.75 for the y. Remember, 0.75 is about 3/4 or exactly 3/4, so to be negative 3/4 if I wanted to look at it as a fraction. So that's my y-intercept. My x-intercept, we will want to let the y equal 0, so I'll put 0 equals negative 0.25x minus 0.75, and then I'll just add that 0.75 to both sides so I can get the x by itself. Ooh, that's a crazy line. And I have on the left 0.75 equals negative 0.25x. And the positive 0.75 and the negative 0.75 on the right are canceling, and so I'm just left with the negative 0.25x. Now I want to get the x alone still, so there's an implied operation of multiply in between, so I will divide negative 0.25 on both sides. And then I have on the right, it's going to reduce here to 1, so it's going to be 1x or just x. And on the left, let me pull up my calculator real quick and we'll see how that looks on there. It's going to be 0.75 divided by, do I have to change the sign? I do. 0.25 and make it negative equals negative 3. So I'll put negative 3 for my x. That means my x part is a negative 3, so negative 3, and my y part up there is a 0. So we started off with some decimals in our original equation, but our x-intercept came out to be whole numbers. And our y-intercept had a negative 0.75, but it's not too bad.